What's up, guys? It's Stevan and I'm here today with a really exciting topic and debate, a good conversation we're going to have today here with discussing how we're going to make a professional wrestling league and if that would even be a possibility to do. College season being a really cool, exciting thing to follow all year, and then just kind of, moving on to freestyle and the after season. Well, is there something that we could do to kind of make the sport feel a little more professional in the U.S.? But before we get started, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and notification bells on. ONEV giveaway still going until next week, where we will be giving away the black ONEV hoodie. All you gotta do, follow me on Instagram, follow onev.world on Instagram, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. So let's go. All right, guys. So you guys probably have seen before in the past where many different things have tried to, happen with wrestling leagues. I know over COVID there was a lot of, match cards going on, kind of trying to figure that out with professionals or even some college athletes taking part. Where Flow Wrestling would host, a one-off card or, kind of like an 8-man bracket where the winner would take a grand cash prize, kind of keep people excited and things. But that kind of died off as soon as COVID ended, and then, we moved on with the college seasons, and then still, following along with the, world and Olympic championships. There's always been a little bit of a gap and something missing, especially when, you move on to the highest level and, the main competition is the Worlds and the Olympic Games. It's kind of hard. I wish there was some sort of more all-year-round competition that kind of took place where wrestlers could be paid and compensated for competing on a regular basis. Whether, I know they've done an RTC Cup in the past as well, where they've had regional training centers come together to form a tournament where they've wrestled. Like Cliff Keen will wrestle Spartan Combat, and the winner will then wrestle Titan Mercury. Or kind of put in a pool of NYC RTCs and another. So these RTCs are wrestling each other. Nothing's really came to fruition. And there's been a few different things. Also, I think there was a league back when I was a kid that was pretty cool. It was called like Real Pro Wrestling. This was an amazing idea. They actually had team names. Like there was like Minnesota Freeze or like New York like Kong or like Chicago Sly. I forget what the teams were. But it was a really cool concept where there was like a draft system. With that, there's, we're going to get into that in a minute, but the rule set, that plays an important part. And I think that's kind of what killed it, where it kind of had this weird combination of folk style and freestyle, grappling, long periods, and it was just a very strange rule set, very hard for people to get behind. And this was when social media wasn't a thing. But now we've weeded out the things that don't work. We have social media, we have the best technology, communication around the world so to get a hold, and we know the best wrestlers in the world, so we can make this happen. But really, I'm also going to need your guys' ideas and to see kind of how we can, throw this in, because this isn't something that I want to talk about. I want this to kind of be an ongoing debate and something we discuss on my channel over the next couple months and maybe years, and we'll see if anything ends up coming out of this. But here's my ideas that I've thought of. So I've seen there's a league called the Bundesliga, and it's in Germany. Basically, this happens between October and December, right after the World Championships. And what this is it's just kind of like a wrestling league in Germany for freestyle and Greco, where basically they have tiers of levels. So there's a tier 1 Bundesliga, a 2, and a 3, just like professional soccer, the Bundesliga or the Premier League. There's a tier system, just like NCAA, D1, D2, D3. But the way that they do it is the league has, I think, a certain amount of weights, maybe 12 or 14 weights. Half of those are Greco, or maybe like 40% are Greco. The rest are freestyle weights. But the Bundesliga needs a certain amount of domestic wrestlers to fill, of Germans that can compete in freestyle and Greco. The rest, they're given a point allotment system. And the way they do that is they're able to go and seek wrestlers. Depending on their qualifications, they go into tier lists and are worth more points. The bottom tier of wrestlers that might, are European medalists, Pan Am medalists, national champs for their country, they might go into the bottom tier where they're worth 2 or 3 points. The next tier up would be someone who's a European champion, a continental champion of some sort, Asian champ, Pan Am champ. They are worth 4 points. Then a world medalist, an Olympic medalist tier, which is like worth 5 points. And then to have the top tier would be a world champion and an Olympic champion, which is like 7 points or something like that. And the way that they do that is, they're only allotted like 15 points, and they have to divvy that up accordingly to recruit the amount of wrestlers they need. So that way they can't stack a team, foreigners straight up from Russia or America or Japan. They have to kind of do it, and separate it. And just so you know, this Bundesliga has attracted many world-class wrestlers over the years. They've had so many Cubans take part in it. I know Abakara from Albania took part in it last year after getting bronze. I know Haratunian, the Armenian at my weight class, has been in it many times. Musakayev is part in this as well. Bajrang from India. Many Cubans. So many good wrestlers. My buddy Dave Habit actually is one of the guys, he's Slovenian, but he also competed in it as well. And I'm not sure how many actually USA wrestlers can compete in it. But it's a really cool concept with this point system. And it made me think, hey, is this something we could do with wrestling in the US? Now, Now, if we were able to do something that happened, whether it be, for professional, it could kind of happen all year round. It could happen while the college season's going on. It could happen in the spring. Probably not in the spring because any of those wrestlers are probably trying to make their world team still. And it probably wouldn't be any good, I would assume, between, May and September, where, any lead up of training of making a world team and preparation for the world championships. So maybe sometime in the fall. That's something I'm not really sure about when the season could take part in. And then also, we can maybe make our own rule set where it's a point system where they have a certain amount of American wrestlers and Team USA wrestlers can compete. And then, like, if you can use qualifications based off of points off of the NCAA champion, NCAA All-American, or, even higher than that, you have the tier where they're world medalists, tier higher than that, world champions and Olympic champions. So you kind of can do that. But each team, can only have a certain amount of Americans, and then they have to bring in a certain amount of international wrestlers because there'd be so many top-level freestyle guys who want to come over and compete in this because so many want to come to America, so many want the training, so many want to see the American lifestyle. I think this would attract a big talent and kind of, build the culture of wrestling around that wrestling. And now, the final point I want to make is the rule set because, like I said, it would probably have to be freestyle, but I think it could be a modified freestyle, something a little bit easier for people to understand and get into, going from, paying attention to folk style and then getting into freestyle for the American audience that's trying to follow wrestling casually and is more inclined from watching the folk style. I think freestyle and folk style are about evenly understandable. It's just, if you watch only folk style, it takes a minute to switch into freestyle, and same for people who are from Europe. They have no idea how folk style works. It's very confusing for them. So vice versa, you could probably make some type of modified rule set where, the takedowns maybe are worth the same, and there are some throws and exposures periods are shorter or longer depending on which. Maybe there is a certain thing where there's a little bit of top and bottom involved. I'm not really sure what we could do. Something more modified, a little maybe more heavy on the freestyle side, maybe something like 60-40 freestyle or 70-30 freestyle, but still kind of having a little bit of maybe some scrambling abilities just to kind of make it more exciting on the feet without points, or, where throws are still awarded for a lot. I'm not sure what we could do there with the points, but that's kind of what I want to talk about. But I think having a league and a draft system in place where a professional team has this draft system and then just kind of moving into where they're allotted. So a high-level wrestler that has accolades not from the league can go. And then the league could kind of on its own be something where it's based off of like a dual season, and then it's all about the team. It's not an individual award, because I think also another thing that's important is the team aspect, and something about the competitiveness inside the team sport, having each match matter for the outcome of the team. And I think duels are a little more attractive than following a tournament, because following tournaments are tough. The other option could be having some type of match card system where you're kind of moving a league where it's more about the UFC style, grappling style, where it's like where people kind of move up the ranks and have to take one-off match cards per weight. But I also think that this could be something a little bit harder and longer to implement, especially the same rules as the UFC, following the same rules as these grappling matches that they're having, and just kind of like trying to establish something that feels kind of repetitive. I think having the team aspect could be a really big thing, this wrestling league. So anyways, in conclusion, guys, this would be a really amazing thing. This would be a dream for me to come true, but obviously there are some things and steps. One, we got to figure out how to fund this thing. Let me know, what do you guys think that could be the real way to fund it? No, the UFC's investing in a grappling league right now, which is kind of crazy to me. I definitely think wrestling's so much more exciting, especially neutral wrestling. With a condensed change, the rule set could be way more exciting than a grappling league, and I think it'd be a lot more beneficial for Dana White, honestly, with how effective wrestlers are doing in the UFC and in MMA. I think maybe would they be something interested in that in the future to kind of have more of a team aspect behind it? How do we make money? How do we adjust the rules? How do we get people watching it? It's not something maybe that Flow might be able to bite off right now. We would need something a little bit bigger than that, kind of something where more along the lines of ESPN, or even kind of having that ESPN Plus through. Let me know what you guys think. It'd be a dream come true for me. Let me know. World champs and everything we do, baby.